This is John Mutchler and the Monday Morning Pastor, where we share a comment or two from yesterday's message. And needless to say, you are always welcome and invited to join us here at 10:30 on Sunday mornings at the Cornerstone Community Church here in Ferndale. And today, January 20th, is Inauguration Day, when we see in about 3 hours the swearing in of the 57th President of the United States. And by rare coincidence, it's also the Martin Luther King holiday. And if you have a few moments, and all of us do, take about 15 minutes to watch all of his I Have a Dream speech. In my mind, the most important and most memorable speech since at least those going back to Abraham Lincoln. It's powerful. It's worth taking the time to listen today, as I have already done this morning. As I'm sitting here in my pastor's study, I thought today about the First Amendment as we're preparing for the swearing in of the president. The First Amendment lists 5 rights that are given to us by God but are recognized by our government. They are, let me just read the amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Said simply, government must stay out of the way of religion. The second right, it says, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble. People have a right to assemble. There's not a right to riot, but there is a right to assemble. And then finally, and to petition the government for the redress of grievances. That final one simply means we have a right to tell our government when to stick it when they do something wrong. And the greatest expression of that right is that every 4 years we get to vote for a president. And we've been doing this for a long time, I think 60 times. And we've held it every 4 years like clockwork, which in itself is kind of amazing. And so, yes, we have the right to complain and speak out. And we should, when we think government is not doing the job it's supposed to do. However, we are people of faith, and I'd like to suggest one more thing that's not listed directly in the First Amendment, but we have a right to do, and it's protected, and that we should always do in good times and bad, and especially when we have complaints about our government. It is to pray for them. And we are given that directive by the Apostle Paul in 1 Timothy chapter 2. And oddly enough, he's talking about praying for leaders, kings, and those in authority during the first century Roman occupation, when things weren't all that easy for people. Let me read you what Paul says. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1, I urge then, first of all, that's noteworthy, first of all, the first thing we do, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving, there's a nice 4-point sermon, petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. This is good and pleases God our Savior, who wants all people to be saved and to come to the knowledge of truth. Yes, we have a right to complain. Listen to the speech by Dr. King. He is laying it on pretty thick about a country that had not followed through on what he called the promissory note of our Constitution and Declaration of Independence. But I think he would also say that prayer should be the first order of the day. This is how we're different. I think we have responsibility to participate in our political process, local and national. But before we do any of those things, let's put prayer at the top of the list. Not the only thing, but prayer should be the first thing. Thank you for watching, and may God bless, protect, and lead those who are governing over us.